Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about building your budget in Excel. This is actually going to be the first step of the student loan project for you. First of three steps in that project. So the goal of this is to get an idea of what you're spending money on, what your salary is going to be, and basically, are you going to be financially stable, right? So I'm going to walk you through from scratch how I would just create a really loose budget. There's way more ways to do this. You could use some of the templates that Excel has, which are awesome, but I'm just going to show you this way because I think it also gets you a little bit more comfortable with manipulating things in Excel and just more exposure to Excel. So I'm just going to start off by writing, okay, monthly budget. This is my monthly budget. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger, bold it. Okay, now let's say we have item and amount, right? Things that we have to pay for and how much they cost. And we're doing this on a monthly time frame because most of your bills that you have to pay are going to end up being monthly, right? So I'm going to click on A and hold Shift, click on B. I'm just OCD. I'm just centering everything. Okay. Although this didn't like being centered. All right, so let's just go over a couple things. So I pay my mortgage, you might pay rent or mortgage or whatever, gas and electric. And you're gonna have to come up with these things for yourself. Yours is not gonna look the same as mine, right? Cell phone, groceries. You might have going out to eat. I don't go out to eat, so I don't have that on mine. I'm just gonna put dog expenses. If you don't have a dog, please don't put dog expenses, right? Auto expenses. Let's say savings. Let's say miscellaneous. I probably want to add in there gas, like for my car payment. Car insurance, personal care. Okay, so let's just say that's a good rough list. You're probably gonna have to go through yours a couple times. When I actually create my budget, I actually just pull up my banking, my credit card app and my M&T Bank app, and I just look at what I spend money on, and that helps me come up with categories. It also gives me a good idea of how much I spend, right? So I'm just gonna put some loose amounts here. And these should be accurate amounts for you in a month. So mortgage I pay monthly. Let's say it's about $1,000. Gas and electric I pay monthly. Let's say it's about $120. You don't obviously put your own values in. Phone, let's say it's $50. Groceries a month. Y'all know I like to eat, so if let's say 500. Doggy expenses, let's say $50. Oh, let's throw in just in case he has to go to the vet. Auto expenses. Let's just say I always like to put aside like $50 a month for this, just because if something goes wrong, right, then you have money to lean back on. Savings. Let's say a couple $100. Miscellaneous. Let's say a couple $100. Obviously, you're going to make these much more accurate for you. Gas. I'm thinking gas for me is about $40 a week. And there's about 4 weeks in a month, so $160. What you just saw me do was called prorating. So if an expense isn't monthly, you prorate it for a month. So my gas, I know per week, it's $40. And there's roughly 4 weeks in a month. So what you do is take that $40, times it by 4, and you get $160. So that's called prorating an expense. If you're a visual person, this is what I'm saying. Prorating an expense. Okay. I'm going to delete that though. So car payment, let's say it's $225. Car insurance, let's say it's $100. And personal care, let's say it's $100. Okay, so now we need to add in a total at the bottom. So total. I always like to make mine right aligned so it pinches in a little bit using this right align button up here. And now what I can actually use is my knowledge of Excel to do equals sum, double click so it goes capital, highlight all of your numbers, click enter, and it will add them up for you. All right. Now, some other things we need to be include here is your annual salary, right? So let's assume for this example that I'm making $50,000 a year, making a pretty good living here. Next, what we're going to need to figure out is our federal tax and our state tax. For these two, I don't have enough time in this video to cover taxes. That's going to have to be a separate video. So I will create that next. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to put in the numbers that I already calculated for 50,000. So it's 6,000. 50. Yes, that's right. That's money going to the federal government, and state is going to take this much. This is if you're just a single person making 50 grand in 2019. I used the brackets from 2019, I believe, or 2018. Now we also need to figure out, like, what do we budget with? So we're not budgeting with that 50 grand. We got to take out those taxes first. Then that's what we're budgeting with. And don't get me wrong, you could have put your taxes up here in your budget, but I just don't like them there personally. So what we need to do is figure out our salary after taxes. So we have to subtract them out. So I'm going to put annual salary after taxes. What we can do here, see how it doesn't fit? We can just hover between A and B, click and drag. We can make that fit. There we go. That wasn't a big deal because I know it stretched out the items, but it doesn't look messy. So we need to take the 50 grand here and take out taxes. So I'm going to use Excel because it's going to make my life a lot easier. You could use a calculator if you want, but to turn Excel into a calculator, just click equals. Now we want to do 50 grand. So I'm going to click that minus the federal tax of 6,939 minus click on the state tax. Then click enter. There's your new salary after tax. So that's what you're actually making, what you should actually budget with. Now, it's hard to figure out your budget when you only know your annual salary because we budget monthly. So we need to figure out what this is going to be monthly. So monthly salary after tax. All right. Just a little bit more. There we go. So now what we need to do is we need to take our annual salary and divide it up into 12 months, right? So I'm going to do this in Excel again. You could do it in your calculator. So equals, I'm going to click on the 40 grand that I need to divide by 12. If you're looking for the division symbol, it's the symbol that's with the question mark. It's that backslash. And then click enter. So that's what I have to budget with each month, which is looking good because I can at least cover my expenses that you see above that 2,980. So what I'm going to put next, because now the goal is to obviously figure out how much money do I have left over to reallocate back into my budget. Or I say that because mine will probably go towards savings. So it tells me how much more I can put towards savings. So let's say monthly expense total. And that's just this value up here, this 2,980. You could just type it in. I'm going to do equals and just click it. The reason being is if I'm click enter quick. So the reason being is if I go up here and I change an expense, let's say my car payment goes down to 200. So I change my 225 to 200, which I don't want you to do, but watch what happens to this box down here. You see it change? So it adjusts. It adjusts because I clicked on this box. I did equals and clicked it, which is called a reference cell. So that allows me to change all of the numbers that are summing to this, and it will adapt. So I'm going to put 225 back. All right. Now the last piece of this that we need to figure out is our balance. Our balance, some people call it cash flow, right? And what that is your salary, your monthly salary after tax, take away your monthly expense. So this is how much you make right here. This is how much you're spending. Make, spending, right? So I need to subtract those. So again, you can use a calculator or equals this minus this. Enter. All right, well, at least I'm in the positive, right? At least it's not red. All right, so a couple things I do want to point out here is now what's cool is if I go back to this car payment and change it to 220, watch everything change. Or change it to 200, sorry. Bam, everything changes here. The monthly expense total and the balance are going to change. I'm going to go back though. There we go. So the goal, actually, so let me point out a couple things. So where are you going to get your annual salary from for when you do this for your student loan project? You're going to grab it from Google, essentially. So you're going to go to Google, look up average starting salary, which I can do that right now. So I can go to Google and you type in average starting salary of, let's say, an accountant. Scroll down, pay scale is usually pretty good. And you can type in your location and everything, and you'll get a yearly salary that you can choose. So let's say you've been in the field 0 years. I don't know what this does. All right, well, that was a dead end. And you know that I only create my videos once. So let's see if I can scroll down and find anything else. You can get a good idea here. What is pay by experience level for accountants? Well, if you have less than 1 year, which most people would have coming out of college, $46,000. Use that as your salary, right? And you can go, you can dive in a little bit more. Pay scale was just one example. If I scroll down, there's many more examples of where I can look through, okay? But basically, salary.com is great too. You can click there, and I probably have some good resources as well. Oh, perfect. Like, it tells you the median. Just take that value, right? That's what you could roughly expect to make. Maybe not in your first years, but a couple of years after. So that's actually going to be the salary that I want you to use right here, okay? And you're going to take that, watch the video on taxes to calculate your taxes, and then you'll be able to fully complete this budget. You'll have the first step of your student loan project done, okay? Then the only thing you have next is doing your loan calculations and your conclusion. That's all. And I'm going to cover that in a future video. So just get this budget done and you'll be in a really good place. Reach out with questions if you have them, obviously, okay? Also send this to me if you want me to check your values.